Elias had never believed in haunted houses. He believed in old pipes, creaking wood, and the imagination playing tricks in the dark. But the house he inherited from his aunt was different. It felt alive the moment he stepped inside. The air was warm, almost too warm, as if the house itself exhaled around him. The walls seemed to pulse faintly, like a heartbeat buried beneath layers of paint. Elias tried to ignore it. He told himself it was just age, just the strange feeling of returning to a place he hadn't visited since childhood. But the house remembered him. On the first night, Elias woke to a soft sound. A slow inhale, a long exhale. He sat up in bed listening. The sound wasn't coming from outside. It wasn't the wind. It was coming from the hallway. The house was breathing. He stepped out of bed and opened his door. The hallway was dark, but he could feel the air shifting, moving, as if the walls themselves were expanding and contracting. He whispered, "Hello?" But the only answer was another slow breath. Elias backed into his room and shut the door. He didn't sleep again that night. The next morning, he explored the house, searching for anything that could explain the strange sensation. In the basement, he found something he didn't remember from childhood. A door made of dark wood, carved with symbols he didn't recognize. It had no handle, no lock, no hinges. It looked as if it had grown out of the wall. When he touched it, the wood felt warm. Alive, he pulled his hand away quickly. The house exhaled behind him. Elias ran upstairs. That night, the breathing grew louder. Deeper, more rhythmic. Elias lay awake, staring at the ceiling, listening as the house inhaled and exhaled like a sleeping giant. At 3:14 a.m., the breathing stopped. The silence was worse, then came the whisper. "Elias," he sat up, heart pounding. The voice was soft, almost gentle, but it came from everywhere at once. He grabbed his phone, but the screen flickered and died. "Elias," he stepped into the hallway. The air was still, heavy, waiting. The whisper came again, this time from the basement. "Come back." Elias shook his head. "No." The house inhaled sharply as if offended. The floorboards beneath him vibrated. The walls trembled. The lights flickered. The house was waking up. Elias ran to the front door, but it wouldn't open. The lock turned, but the door felt glued to the frame. He pulled harder, but the wood beneath his hands felt warm again, pulsing, alive. The whisper grew louder. "You left me once. You won't leave again." Elias stumbled backward. He didn't remember leaving anything behind. He didn't remember anything strange from childhood. But the house remembered him. He ran upstairs to the attic, hoping for a window he could break. But when he opened the attic door, he froze. The attic was empty except for a single object in the center of the room, a small wooden box. He recognized it instantly. It had belonged to his aunt. She had always told him never to open it. As a child, he had obeyed. As an adult, he hesitated. The house whispered, "Open it." Elias knelt and slowly lifted the lid. Inside was a photograph of him. But not as a child, as he was now, standing in the attic, holding the box. Behind him, in the photo, the dark wooden door from the basement was wide open. And something was stepping out. Elias dropped the photo and ran. The house was quiet for 2 days after Elias disappeared. Too quiet. The neighbors assumed he had gone back to the city. Mrs. Halpern, who lived across the road, said she saw him leave early one morning. But she couldn't explain why he didn't take his car, or why the lights in the house flickered every night at the same time. Inside, the house waited. On the third night, someone knocked on the door. It was Elias's friend Jonah. He had been trying to reach Elias for days. No calls answered, no messages returned. Jonah knew something was wrong. He stepped onto the porch and felt a strange warmth radiating from the door, like the house was breathing against the wood. He knocked again. "Elias? You home?" No answer. Jonah tried the handle. The door opened easily, almost too easily, as if the house had been waiting for him. The air inside was thick and humid, like stepping into a greenhouse. Jonah wiped sweat from his forehead. "Elias, man, this place feels weird." He walked through the living room, noticing the walls seemed swollen. The wallpaper bulged in places, as if something underneath was pushing outward. He touched it gently. The wall pulsed beneath his fingers. Jonah jerked his hand back. He heard a faint sound coming from the basement. A slow inhale, a long exhale. He froze. "Elias?" The breathing grew louder. Jonah stepped toward the basement door. The air grew warmer with each step. When he reached the door, he felt it vibrating softly, like a heartbeat. He opened it. The basement was dark. Too dark. Jonah took a step down, then another. The breathing echoed around him, bouncing off the walls. He reached the bottom of the stairs. "Elias?" A whisper answered. "Jonah." He spun around. "Who's there?" The whisper came again, closer this time. "Jonah. Help me." It was Elias's voice. Jonah moved toward the sound, his heart pounding. "Elias, where are you?" The whisper shifted behind him. "Here." Jonah turned. The wooden door inside the wall was open. A faint shape stood inside the darkness. Tall. Thin, its limbs too long, its skin stretched tight, its face blank except for a mouth that opened and closed with the rhythm of the house's breathing. Jonah stumbled backward. "Elias!" The creature tilted its head. "You came back for me," Jonah ran. The house inhaled sharply, and the basement door slammed shut above him. Jonah pounded on the basement door, shouting for help, but the wood beneath his fists felt soft, warm, almost flesh-like. The house exhaled, and the air around him grew thick, making it hard to breathe. Behind him, the creature stepped out of the dark doorway. Its movements were slow, deliberate, like someone learning how to walk again. Jonah pressed himself against the door. "Stay back," the creature whispered. "You shouldn't have come." Jonah's voice cracked. "What did you do to Elias?" The creature paused. "He belongs to the house now." Jonah shook his head. No, I'm getting him out." The creature leaned closer. "You can't save him, but you can join him." Jonah grabbed a metal pipe from the floor and swung it. The pipe passed through the creature as if it were smoke. The creature dissolved, then reformed behind him. The house inhaled again, deeper this time, and the floor beneath Jonah's feet pulsed violently. He fell to his knees. The creature whispered, "The house needs to breathe. It needs to feed. It needs someone to stay." Jonah crawled toward the stairs, but the steps stretched away from him, elongating like a nightmare. No matter how far he crawled, the stairs remained out of reach. The creature's voice grew louder. "Your aunt fed me for years. Elias fed me next. Now you will feed me too." Jonah screamed and lunged forward, but the floor opened beneath him like a mouth. Darkness swallowed him whole. The house exhaled. Silence returned. Hours later, the house settled. The walls relaxed, the breathing softened. In the basement, the wooden door closed slowly, sealing the darkness inside. Upstairs, the front door unlocked itself. The house waited. It always waited. And if someone stood close enough to the basement door, they would hear it. A slow inhale, a long exhale, and two voices whispering now,